What's going on, everybody? It's week 4 of the NFL season. That means we've made it to episode 4 of the Hurry Up Offense. TJ Winger joined as always by JT Creed and Mason Cannon. JT, I'll start with you, man. Interesting week of football in week 3. You know, how was the weekend and how have you been?
Yeah, good weekend. Definitely interesting weekend of football. Still, more entertaining than, you would expect, but not as many crazy comebacks as week 2. So it was a little more chill, a little more expected. Some bigger spreads across the league, kind of what we expect to happen. So, yeah, but it was a good week.
Awesome. And Mason, how's it been? How have the last 7 days treated you?
Last couple of days, football-wise, have not been great. Lost our quarterback, lost all my bets, but we pushed through. We moved forward, so we will see what week 4 brings.
Sometimes life's greatest teacher is failure. And right. You're poised for one hell of a week 4. That's all I know. So right. Awesome. Well, we'll start with our rhythm throws. If you're new to the series, this is kind of us just talking about some of the latest news and storylines from around the league. Then we'll talk about our 5 games. We're talking Thursday night football, Sunday 1 o'clock slate, 1 game from that slate, and then 1 4 o'clock game, Sunday night football, Monday night football. But if you're curious in our picks for the entire slate of week 4, check out the link in the description. It's our picks league. You can see how we fared picking against the spread so far this year, but also join the league. And if you beat us, we'll figure out some sort of giveaways and rewards we can give you. Maybe we'll include your picks in next week's video. That could be kind of a fun idea. But nonetheless, man, injuries are always something we talk about here. And Mason, you're wearing the jersey, man. That's bold. But high ankle sprain. You guys are turning it over to Axel Hoyer, which we were just talking off air. Axel's such a better name than Brian. But man, I got to know where the vibe's at, knowing that, you guys probably weren't already a playoff team, and now it almost certainly feels like that door is closed.
Yeah, man, I saw your TikTok video of where you had the Pats.
Follow me on TikTok, definitely.
You were being generous, dude. You were being generous.
Yeah. But well, you guys did beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, so I give you some respect. And Bill Belichick, so I respect it. And JT, I wanted to ask you, hey, Dalvin Cook. I mean, y'all have always done a great job drafting running backs, including your boy Ty Chandler. You guys are both UNC fans, so that guy is just kind of the next in line. But Dalvin a little banged up. You worried about that at all?
No, I think it's like stereotypical, just Dalvin, week to week. You never know. He's going to be dinged up all year, no matter what. It's always something. He does have a shoulder injury history though, so that's something to kind of monitor. But I think it's just one of those nagging injuries that was very convenient that he had it when he fumbled. It was one of those, he fumbled and then next thing you know, his nagging injury popped up. So yeah, kind of a convenient spot to pull that. But I mean, I'm sure it actually hurts, but you know what I mean. But yeah, and then the Mac Jones stuff that we just talked about. Something to note is it's also a medial ankle sprain, so it's not very typical. The inside of your ankle, the inside of the joint, doesn't typically sprain. That's just not something you see a lot of force on, because 9 times out of 10, when you roll your ankle, it's going to be on the lateral side, so the outside, because you're usually putting a lot of force into that when you're trying to change direction. But he got rolled up on the medial side, and I think that's why you saw him basically screaming in pain. It's because everybody's rolled their ankle on the other side, it's not that bad, but when you roll it medially, your ankle is not supposed to rotate. Try to take your foot and then rotate it out like that. It doesn't go very far.
Right.
There's a reason why. You know what I'm saying? You cannot move it as much as you can internally. So it's just some little sports med kind of angle. But yeah, definitely interesting. There's injuries all over the place, man. There's I was just looking at some injury reports. Half of everybody's roster is questionable this week. But it's a normal week of football. Week 4 of the NFL kind of makes sense for all this to be going down. Just a bunch of nagging injuries. Trying to think of big injuries.
You got Trent Williams. I mean, if he doesn't suit up, I'm taking the Rams. I just cannot have faith in that 49ers offense without their best player. But also, how about what were you saying?
I was just gonna say the breaking news that kind of just came out. Myles Garrett on the way home from the practice facility. Apparently he tried to swerve around an animal on the road. And the car flipped multiple times. He ended up with, I think it was a shoulder sprain, a bicep strain, which makes sense if both of them are on the same side, and then some lacerations. That's not that big a deal. But they're saying that he's questionable for Sunday. I'm if this man plays Sunday, that is insane.
Facts.
He flipped in a car multiple times and he's about to suit up. That's absurd. I don't know.
And if you saw the picture of the car,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He should be counting his stars, dude.
That's it.
That's a tough sell. But also a couple of Chargers injuries, torn bicep for Rashawn Slater. That feels like it cost him the year. And if it's Storm Norton and Trey Pipkins and bookend tackles for Justin Herbert, stock down on the Chargers.
Not to mention Guyton's out.
Yeah, Jalen Guyton, Joey Bosa
So-
left that game against the Chargers as well, dude. Yeah, the Chargers are looking certainly less than 100%, and that's just some of the injuries. Again, like you said, JT, there's teams battling, injuries up and down the depth chart. But let's go ahead and leave this one and start talking about our slate of games for this week. I'll get my stop clock ready. We'll have 5 minutes per game. Thursday Night Football, what a gem. Shout out to Amazon for getting us Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals. And this line, despite as much hype as I've heard about the Dolphins, which kind of scares me, the line's moved out to -4 for Cincy, which, whenever the line's working against the narrative, that scares me quite a bit. But two teams, potentially in line to go to the AFC playoff picture. So I'd love to know y'all's thoughts. JT, over under 47, Bengals by 4. What do you think going into this matchup?
Yeah, I'm leaning Bengals. To me, it just kind of comes down to, I think, Burrow over Tua still at this point. Also, to me, we look at results like at the end of the week. Is it more likely that the Bengals are 1-3 or that the Dolphins are 4-0? And to me, I just don't see the Bengals as a 1-3 team.
Sure.
And I don't see the Dolphins as a 4-0 team. So you just kind of do the math there. I just see the Bengals coming out on top here. 4, as like the spread is kind of tough. I don't know that they run away with it. But yeah, it's more just about I just don't think the Bengals are going to go 1-3. Also, they're, if you look at the Dolphins roster, they're a little banged up. Everybody's kind of dealing with like nagging, like questionable tags and all that. I think Tua will be fine. I couldn't tell. I mean, it was like concussion, then it was a back spasm. I'm like, either way, he's going to be fine by Thursday, I think.
Yeah, not to go full tinfoil hat here, but once I see Ian Rappaport of NFL Media saying it's a back injury, I was like, that sounds like a cover-up if I ever saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be, but like, I don't know. I'm not too worried about it as far as like performance on Thursday. I just think it's a big spot for the Bengals to kind of show why they were in the big show last year. So
yeah, and I mean, kind of on that point, like I even wrote in our notes, like it will take me a while to say who I think outright should win. So that's why, like, if Miami's getting 4 points, I'm way quicker to jump on that than I am to say, like, I think one team will beat the other. So just because of that 50-50 proposition, I'll go with Miami getting the points. But if we're talking winning, I'd probably lean Cincy. So this is a spot here where I think the Bengals probably win this one. Like you said, hard to imagine them going 1-3 to start the year after they were just in the Super Bowl. But against the spread, I'll take the Dolphins getting points, even though they are coming off of one of the biggest wins they've had in quite some time. So it kind of feels like a natural letdown on a short week. But also, like, this is, I have a ton of draft content on this channel. Javon Holland was one of my guys in the 2020 class. A lot of people had Javon Merrick at safety 1, and then there was a huge gap before you got to Holland. To me, it was kind of 1A, 1B. I kind of wish I stuck with my priors, but I give credit to Merrick. His, last year of tape at TCU was, first round worthy. So he got the edge at true safety 1 for me. That being said, with a player like Javon Holland, who can legitimately line up in the slot, be a man-to-man guy, can blitz, stuff the run, be a free, be a strong. He can do anything and play anywhere you need him on the field. Players like him and Derwin James, I'm always interested week to week. Like, where is a coach putting them? And this is a really multiple and versatile Dolphins defense. So the question is, like, is his assignment Tyler Boyd in the slot? Because that's a must-see football for me. Is it, making sure he's marked up on Joe Mixon coming out of the backfield? That could have a big impact. Or is he just going to be a coverage playmaker? So a lot of different ways it could go, but Javon Holland's one of those guys where, like, week in, week out, I have to know where he's lining up. So I'll take the Dolphins just because they're getting points. I think maybe Cincy probably, if we're just talking straight up, who I think wins, but it could certainly go either way. Mason, where do you sit on this one?
Yeah, I won't spend too much time because you guys kind of went over a lot of the points. But yeah, in terms of winning, I like the Bengals, but also the Dolphins have proved us wrong. The last 2 weeks, I didn't think they would beat the Ravens nor the Bills. But here they are 3-0. But I do like the Bengals to get it done on Thursday night. Tua's still banged up. I don't know if you guys saw after he got hit, he took a couple steps and did not know where he was.
Yeah.
So no, I do like the Bengals.
Backspasm.
Yeah,
backspasm.
For the case that probably was not backspasm. I've never seen backspasms have me forget where I was, but maybe I ain't got it on that same level. Well, I think this is an interesting game too from, coach talk is kind of it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's coach speak for the sake of coach speak. But when I see Tyreek Hill calling out Eli Apple, like, not only do I kind of want to see him torch him for like 200 yards and a couple tuds, that's like a matchup that could really go sideways for Cincinnati. So Lou Anaretta's done a great job. He mixes up a ton of different coverages, but one time where Eli Apple's left out against Tyreek Hill, and that could, spell a different game here. So that's going to be a really fun Thursday night football game. I'm so pumped. That's how we get to start the week. But let's go ahead and jump off and head to game 2 of our slate here. And this is another, interesting one. This one's being played in London, which naturally layer of intrigue there. But 9:30 kickoff between the Vikings, favored by 3 against the New Orleans Saints, over under 44. JT, I know this is your team, but Mason, I'll start it with you. Do you have an edge on one side or the other in this game?
You said 9:30 kickoff. Is this a London game?
Yeah, it's London. Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least like Tottenham, somewhere in England. So I can't.
Right, somewhere, not here. Exactly.
They say London. They say London.
Oh, okay, it's London. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I mean, I really can't trust either of these teams yet after 3 weeks. I mean, I saw the Vikings week 1. They looked really good. JT, you can attest to this.
I think the Packers just looked really bad, to be honest.
Yeah, it could have been that too.
It was more that. But,
right.
Yeah.
But the Vikings the last 2 weeks have just looked rough. Nothing's clicking. But same with the Saints. I mean, Kamara has been non-existent. Winston has not done, jack. I guess my lean would be Saints since they're getting points and they're at home. I mean, that's me. I don't have too much on this game. Just, again, can't trust either team. But I will roll with the Saints if they're getting points. But yeah, that's my lean.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on this one. Again, I can't trust either one of these sides. Like for New Orleans, it's like they get big plays and, Jameis throws for 350 yards, but they just don't finish drives. And part of it, I think, is Kamara and those struggles. That's been really weird. But nonetheless, like, if I can't trust either team, I'll just take the one that's getting points. Man, Minnesota after week 1, I was like, here we go. This is the Kevin O'Connell experience. Yeah, exactly. It's really awesome. And then it's like Justin Jefferson's nowhere to be found. Kirk Cousins, and even after the game week 3, like Kevin O'Connell has some comments saying like we're not going to roll over, we're going to play aggressive. And it's like, yeah, that's what I wanted you to be talking about with Kirk Cousins. Like I wanted you to come out of the shell. Maybe he's just not that guy, So I don't know. JT, what do you say on this one? Again, this is your favorite team. Do you think the Bucs can cover on quote unquote on the road here?
Yeah, the real reason it's not on Kirk. The O-line has been atrocious. Like it's been so bad. If you send any type of blitz, it's getting home. So he has no time to step up and make a throw over the last 2 weeks. Against the Packers, we had plenty of, he had plenty of time, had time for a lot of the deep developing routes to JJ, and I mean, it showed. But against the Eagles, and even last week against the Lions, definitely against the Eagles, but even last week against the Lions, anytime they would bring a blitz, man, we were basically KO'd until a broken coverage basically late that allowed us to win the game. That wasn't like oh my God, someone made a great play. It was a broken coverage. Like call it what it is. But yeah, anyway, I would lean the Vikings if I had to pick a side. But I mean, I'm not super convinced on a side. I'm more so on the Vikings offense scoring against the Saints. The Saints have given up 26 to the Falcons, 20 to the Bucs with only Mike Evans. They didn't have Godwin or Julio.
Mike Evans for half a game or so? Yeah.
Right. That's
fair. And then they gave up 22 to the Panthers. The Vikings offense is going to put up more points, in my opinion, than all of those teams. I think JJ, there's just no way that he's shut down 3 weeks in a row. That's just not going to happen. So to me, you either play the Vikings over 2.5 touchdowns at -120, or you just play that their team total points at 23.5. If you play the over, it's +100. I kind of like the over points. I don't know. I mean, I think they'll score 3 touchdowns, but throw a couple field goals in there. I think we get to 24 points. And cover that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Leaning sides, though, it's kind of like you said, if you're getting points on the Saints and that's kind of the way you want to play it, I'm not mad at that. That's actually like a smart play if you see the teams as, pretty equal.
Yeah, that's kind of my rule of thumb. If it's a 50-50 game to me, I'll take the side that's getting points. But like that being said, I've talked about the Saints the last 2 weeks and they've crumbled. So on this occasion, it's not like they're favored, but I mean, like last week kind of, epitomizes what the Jameis Winston experience is. Like it feels like a layup and he just gets to the rim and absolutely bricks it, just chucks it off the board. And that's kind of the Carolina. The Panthers really didn't even look good in that game. It's just more so the Saints suck more. And it's just like, what are we doing here? But I do still think that is a good Saints defense. So it'll be interesting to see how it travels. And, kind of similar to what like Nathaniel Hackett's having to deal with, Dennis Allen, these guys who I think really work well as coordinators for that transition sometimes to also being the game manager. That's just something I'm keeping my eye on and how that might, affect, the defense and its efficiency. But Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun game. And I don't know. I just curious for y'all's takes. You guys get up and watch these London games? I think it's kind of awesome to be able to wake up and be like, oh, instead of like talking heads, I get to actually watch the sport this Sunday.
Well, dude, now that I know it's a London game, I will definitely watch it. Yeah.
It's my favorite. Like when we have London games, it is the best because my Sundays are spent. I wake up and then I find stuff to do to like keep myself busy until 1 o'clock.
Sure.
That's all it is. So yeah, for it to start at 9:30, fantastic.
Okay, last thing I did want to talk about. You guys talked, or JT, you at least mentioned that Philadelphia game. I was the only one who took the Eagles in that one, and part of it was like Fletcher Cox, Devon Hargrave, those interior guys against that, Vikings interior offensive line. I think Christian Darrisaw's been pretty good. I think you guys' bookend tackle situation is going to be optimistic and one of the strengths of that O-line, but it's, Garrett Bradbury still struggles. And
our guard and center are getting eaten alive, and that's why I talk about blitzes. It's not blitzes off the edge. It's not the corner blitz, the nickel blitz. We're getting bum rushed anytime they send interior pressure. Yeah. And that's the worst thing for Kirk Cousins.
Oh, for sure, because he's not.
He's a step up. He's a step up and deliver. So if he can't step up and you're getting interior pressure, we have nothing going on offense, and that's kind of what you're seeing, especially like you said against the Eagles. I did not see that coming at all. The Eagles they're kind of surprising everybody right now, I think. So.
Well, not the guy who picked them to go 13-4 in their regular season.
I felt like that was. I heard a lot of people like talking about the Eagles preseason, and just to be kind of like a counterpoint, I was like, let's relax a little bit. But through 3 weeks,
AT being a contrarian?
I'm just saying no. But like even like contrarian, like they were just being gassed up like crazy. But through 3 weeks, they've been showing every bit of why people were so high on them. So.
Yeah. Well, their over/under was at 8.5, so they were the team that, in my opinion,
they were 8.5.
Yeah. To me, there was the most gain out of their over, because they were just not going to go something other than over 500 to me, in my opinion. And then, I'm looking like I might be wrong on this, but the under I liked the most was Chicago. I was like 6.5. I'm like, there's just no way. Wins under their belt, but we'll see. They still look like they play in a monsoon week in and week out. Their stat line looks like week one, despite weather being different. Anyways, finish off your point there, JT. You kind of finished the sentence I was kind of leading into. It's Garrett Bradbury, and to me, like blitz pickup, that's the center, namely. Now, I can't just speak that. I never played center in the NFL, but that to me is the guy you can kind of point to and be like, yep, that's why. And like you said, Kirk Cousins is a step and throw.
He's undersized.
Yeah,
he's just an undersized center. Garrett Bradbury is very undersized. Yeah. The reason we kind of went after him in the draft was more so just because he could get out on the edges in our zone run scheme and try to basically just kind of offer more athleticism at the position. But you can see his, downfall of just not being it in pass protection. He's just not big enough.
Always been a player who grades well in run grade for Pro Football Focus numbers, but then his pass protection numbers, then again, blitz pickup, that's where he certainly suffers against an immobile or with an immobile quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Anyways, great discussions there, boys. Let's go on to game number 3 here. Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens. My money, best game of the weekend. And I know there's some great ones, but Bills favored by 3.5, over under at 51.5. I'll go ahead and start us off here. Bills were my pick to win the Super Bowl, and I can't see them losing 2 in a row. So this is another one of the situations where I think the Bills win, but I think it's a 3-point game. So right now, if you're getting the hook, I'm going Baltimore. So I think this ends up being a field goal game. Just so, again, I'll lean Baltimore there. 2 of the best teams in the AFC. It's just going to come down to whose identity shines the most, right? Baltimore's secondary has been a little bit of a disappointment given the names on paper and the talent level there. But you got some timely interceptions last week. But Josh Allen, in normal conditions, that dude's going to sling. So then the other side, I look at how good the Bills front, 4 have been this year, specifically as pass rushers, but man, they've done a good job controlling the line of scrimmage overall. So against a team that's going to run the ball, how does that factor in? And then on top of that, you have 2 awesome athletic linebackers. Matt Milano's more of a coverage specialist, but that dude can move. And Tremaine Edmonds, that dude's all athlete. So all that to say the front 7 matches up well against Lamar Jackson, but I don't know how many times I've said a team matches up kind of well to stop Lamar Jackson, and it just didn't matter. And, maybe that's my bias. What JT has with Aaron Rodgers, despite being a Vikings fan, is where I'm at with Lamar Jackson, despite being a Steelers fan. The dude's just a freak, and he's kind of put together an MVP, not even kind of. Him and Josh Allen, to me, are the MVP frontrunners if I had a vote right here, right now. So it's going to be a battle of strength on strength, and whoever's strength prevails, I think that's who comes out on top. All that to say, I think this game's awesome. And at the end of it, we're going to have our MVP frontrunner and probably our Super Bowl favorite. So that's kind of my early take. I'm going to take the Ravens getting the points, but I think the Bills do win in a close one. JT, I'll toss it over to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of I don't know. It's at the Ravens. That concerns me at the 3.5 mark for the Bills. I think I'd like your pitch of not losing 2 in a row. I think the Bills are a superior team. Like if they played 10 times, I think the Bills win at least 7 of them, probably. But that being said, like I wouldn't put money on this game. I don't think. It's just that's a tough line. I think it's about right where it needs to be. And honestly, with all the spreads this week, the lines are getting sharper, I think. As we learn more and we start to be like, oh, we're going to take advantage of, some missed lines, the lines are getting much better too. So I don't know, anything that we learn, obviously Vegas learns as well, a lot better than we do. But yeah, so I don't know if I'm leaning aside, just excited to watch this one. The Ravens have been scoring at will to this point. The Bills were scoring at will until last week, basically. But it was really just a couple, key plays that Josh Allen just kind of whiffed on, to be honest. They could have dropped like 35 last week if he makes a couple more plays here and there. So I don't know. Like you said, I kind of like the Bills. Obviously, by end of the season, definitely give me the Bills over the Ravens. But yeah, just something, just going to watch it for entertainment purposes on this one.
Well, I mean, continuing your point there, JT, the strip sack, for all we know, that drive could have ended in 7 for Buffalo. So we're talking about, boom, they have 26, they finished the game with 19. And then that underthrow to the flat. Who thought Josh Allen would have an underthrow to the flat? Like, I just can't believe I'm even saying that. Boom, we're talking about a potential 30-point game. So
it's like when a pitcher, like when you slow down your arm to throw a changeup, like that's what it looked like. It was so like open in there. He was just like, no, like straight to the ground. So yeah.
Now, Mason, do you have a side that you like in this one, or what are some of the matchups you're looking for between Bills and the Ravens?
So like you guys were talking about, you guys hit on a lot of the points. And I am big on good teams not losing back-to-back. That is something I am really big on. So I do like the Bills here. And also just because the last 2 weeks, the Ravens secondary has been, shredded low-key. Like Mac Jones last week looked really good before he got hurt. The week before that, who played? It was the Dolphins. The Dolphins and Tua, they took apart the Ravens secondary. So I just think their secondary is struggling. And now you got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, everybody else, Dawson Knox, Isaiah McKenzie. I don't know. They got a lot more weapons now. I think Josh Allen bounces back. He has a great game. But also Lamar Jackson, he's going to do his thing.
Do you like the over 51.5?
It's a tough number. Yeah, it is a tough number. I would lean over, right? But I would also go back to the spread and maybe push out Bills to 6.5, just because I think they win by a touchdown or more. But that's just me. I probably won't bet it, like JT said. I'll probably just sit back and watch it, just because it'll be a great game. 2 great quarterbacks, 2 great offenses. But yeah.
I'll say through 3 games, the Bills haven't crossed that number. The totals for their first 3 weeks, and the Ravens have only crossed it once.
Well, part of that is they are blowing fools out like the
Titans. That's what I'm saying. There's that argument on one side if you're just looking straight at numbers, but then you're also like, if there's an offense that can keep up with the Bills,
it's Baltimore.
It's Baltimore. So I can kind of see. That's why I like that line. Is like I said, the lines are sharp, man. Like that total is so good at 51.5. Like that's so tough to like play over or under. So.
Well, I think the one advantage you'll have is neither offense will go to sleep in this game. Even if it starts to one team starts to pull away, they're not for pride reasons, you're not going to roll over. So maybe I do like the over here. One other thing I wanted to note, we talked about, the Ravens secondary has been a bit of a disappointment. The Bills secondary is beyond banked up. I mean, Micah Hyde out for the year. That's a huge loss for
that's also what I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Christian Benford, been a really nice rookie out of Villanova. He's banged up. But that being said, now stick with me here. If you went back 4 months and said, hey, TJ, there's going to be a situation, or hey, JT, hey, Mason, there's going to be a situation where the Bills go toe-to-toe with one of their AFC rival contenders, like one of these teams that's in the arms race trying to make a run for the Super Bowl, and they're missing a ton of their secondary, like Micah Hyde, they're missing a couple of starting corners. No Trey White. I'd be like, dude, Kansas City, that's tough. The Chargers, that's brutal. You can't. The Broncos, anybody from the AFC West, basically. The Bengals, okay, well, what's that look like? Basically, anybody other than AFC South, I'd be like, that's tough. But that's the Ravens. And I'm like, I've seen some stuff I like from, Rashad Bateman, first full season, really getting to see him. And Mark Andrews is a stud of the tight end. But all things considered, for one of their top contenders in the AFC title race, if they're going to have these injuries in secondary, they'd want it to be Baltimore. Which I don't know if that's going to have a huge impact in this game or if that's right or wrong, but it's just kind of an interesting component to add on to this one. So secondaries are something I'm definitely watching in this one. But one last note, I think the moves here when it comes to betting, I think you stick with the Ravens, anything beyond 3.5. And then once it gets over to 2.5, the money line for the Bills, it's not going to be -110 or, anything like that. It's going to be, not going to be great odds, but at that point, I would just roll with that versus the -2.5 and, potentially have that game go close. But that's just kind of my angles there. Let's move on to game before we get the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Tampa Bay Bucs. Chiefs favored by 2, over under set at 45. Mason, I'll start with you. Open us up. Look, I cannot say sorry enough. You were out of your Survivor League because I gave you Chiefs -6.5. You just needed the Chiefs to win, but I gave you the Chiefs pick last week. So I am so sorry. I owe you one big time. But how are you feeling about Kansas City with that, a week in the past now? Do you feel like they can come away? They're favored by 2 here against the Bucs. You think they're really a better team than Tampa right now?
Yeah, so about the Survivor, not on you. I think it was the right play. There's no way they should have lost that game. But you got a good point. They were playing to not lose. So that's a great point that you hit on. But in this game, Chiefs and Bucs, primetime game, both teams coming off of a loss. I'm actually rolling with the Bucs. And here's why. You got Mike Evans coming back. Hopefully a few other receivers coming back. I think this offense finally clicks here at home. Again, I'm a big believer on good teams not losing back-to-back, but obviously one of these teams will lose back-to-back. But if you look at it, so the Bucs have not scored more than 20 in 3 weeks. Tom Brady has not scored more than 20 points.
Yep.
It's going to happen this week. He's going to score easily at least 25. And also the Chiefs have given up 21, 24, and 20. So they're allowing points. They're going to give up points. And I just like Brady in this spot. He's getting his weapon back. I think Fournette gets going if he's back. So I like the Bucs here.
All right. Well, actually kind of sticking on what you talked about, I texted y'all because I was in total rage mode about the Chiefs and their disappointing loss on Sunday. And then I kind of even put it in our notes here. I hate watching teams play not to win, but play not to lose. Like, it's just like go after a win. And like after that muff punt by Sky Moore, and you could just see the Chiefs were just like, we give up. We're better than the Colts, and we're just gonna play for a close one, and we're gonna come away with we're gonna get a narrow win in Indy, and it's okay because we're on the road or whatever. Dude, and it aggravated. Then you throw in some drops, and
you go for a fake field goal.
Yeah, the fake punt instead of, if you're going to go for a
punt, whatever it was.
Wouldn't you want Mahomes on the field if you're going to go for it on 4th down? So lots of annoying things. It felt like Andy Reid forgot his playbook, maybe was having to borrow the high school in the local areas or whatever. But, again, Super Bowl winner, what do I know? So really annoyed with the Chiefs, but you kind of hit on it as well. It's hard to imagine one of either Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady is going to leave with a second straight loss this afternoon or this Sunday's afternoon. Over under at 45. I like the under, man. I don't know. Compared to, it was 42 last week with Green Bay. I don't know. This one's intriguing. Tampa Bay's wide receiver. It's going to get a lot better this week, but it's really the offensive line that, as much as I think those wide receivers coming back or reinforcements, I'm glad to see Mike Evans back out there. Dude, Josh Wells is struggling. And that interior is still young, and there's some growing pains, and it's kind of held back that offense in a lot, in my perspective at least. And then on the other side, dude, lot to like about Kansas City, but coming off of that performance, I have such a hard time backing it up. But really only one way for them to go, and I guess that's up. So I'm going to take Kansas City favored by 2 here, but I am ready to be wrong. So this totally feels like the week Tampa Bay turns it on. And if that's the case, then cool. That's probably why I'm not going to bet it or touch this one, just because it feels like no matter what, I'm picking the wrong awesome team to bet on. So JT, I'll toss it to you. Do you have a favorite or a leaning in this side or in this one?
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So Mason, your argument of basically not having 2 good teams, a good team isn't going to lose 2 in a row, right? That's kind of the basic, not necessarily of your argument, but that's something that we've been kind of going back to throughout, today. So, but the problem is the Bucs aren't a good team. As far as no, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Without receiver depth and with a bad O-line, they're not a good team.
A bad offensive team. That defense is crazy. Do not.
Their defense is good. They're not, but they're not a good team.
Disrespect Todd Bowles.
No, seriously. I think the Chiefs, man, push that spread up. I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't. And again, what we're talking about from last week, The Chiefs are playing not to lose. That's not going to happen against the Bucs.
Fair.
Mahomes isn't going to go out here and lay an egg against Brady. That makes no sense. Like, that's just not going to happen. He's playing for legacy every single time he steps on the field with Brady. It's simple. I don't know. To me, I think it's a simple play. I'd like to push it up at 2 points. That's fantastic. You get it's a field goal.
Yeah.
I'll probably, this is one that I'll definitely play. Chiefs to cover for sure. I just don't think the Bucs are all that good, to be honest. Like,
and that's fair because last week road game, this week road game. Maybe it's a look ahead situation. You know, that's always something that people want to talk about in the storylines in college basketball. You know, whatever the sport is, look aheads are always a factor to talk about. And that being said, if there was of these two road games, which one is Kansas City most likely to look at and say, well, we'll play not to lose? It would be Indianapolis. We're not going to do that against Tampa. All right, so that's kind of a fair counter there.
What happened the last season that Brady played with a poor receiving core? Mason?
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right.
Like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying Tom Brady's great. He's very good at what Tom Brady does so well is execute when things are done by others in the same way, right? So, like, if everyone else is on the same page and executing well, he's the best quarterback that's on the field. Like, hands down, he's going to execute better than anybody else on the field.
Sure.
But the problem is he's working with guys that aren't executing.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
And he's not one of those players like Lamar Jackson. Not saying he's a better quarterback than Brady, but Lamar Jackson, if everybody's not executing, guess what? He still has a 4.4 speed and is going to make people look like they're not playing the same game as him. So, like, to me, it's just like Brady can't overcome this, and it's shown through 3 weeks. Like, their wide receiving core is so bad. Now, with Mike Evans coming back, it's kind of iffy on that. I don't think they're not going to look as bad as last week, right? They're not going to look that bad with Mike.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they're not going to look as bad as last week.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
but 2 points.
Yeah.
That's why I like the Bucs. If it's at 2 points, that's why I like the Bucs so much.
You like the Bucs at 2?
Yes, that's what
Why? That's what I'm asking.
They get Mike Evans back, dude. They get Mike Evans back. They're probably going to get Julio back.
How many points? Okay, maybe we'll see on Julio.
Maybe. I mean, I'll keep an eye on it, but obviously it does not. Go ahead.
As Tampa gets healthier, I mean, we're gonna need it because this Chiefs defense looks good too. Like, we're gonna move on to Game 5 here in a second, but did not want to walk past this one without noting Chris Jones was having an awesome. It's really unfortunate that JT, I'm sure you appreciated this moment in Chris Jones' career here, getting a verbal, flag for something he said made me think back to a quick anecdote back when we used to play some basketball, and JT got tossed immediate tech, and the rationale was I could read his lips, and you're not supposed to say that or whatever. The guy, eventually got it out of him and was completely off there. So maybe think of you as Chris Jones was costing his team a game, but he had an awesome day. So, and that pass rush overall has done a really good job, and I know they're still down Willie Gay. Nick Bolton's playing really good though, so. The defense is overall really impressive. So, that's going to be another element to take into note here. And Spags blitzes a lot. How does Tampa Bay's offensive line hold up in response? So, anyways, let's move on to Game 5. And there's a lot of tough games in this slate. This one is maybe the hardest for me to bet. Rams 49ers, San Francisco favored by 2.5 as of right now. Hopefully we'll get some more clarity on the Trent Williams situation, what the timeline looks like. Over under at 43. JT, I start with you. Man, do you have an idea of how this one's going to play out? Because I'm looking for some advice here. I just have a hard time thinking the 49ers can be favored by almost a field goal without the best player on that roster, right?
Yeah, this is a tough, kind of a weird line.
It's also in a rivalry where Sean McVay is low-key been dominated by Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. And that's something you have to take into account too.
Yeah, no, I know that angle. I mean, if you listen to any Colin Cowherd, that's all that man talks about when he talks about these types of matchups. He's like, oh yeah, it's a legacy thing. Like, he's just got his number. He did like a whole 25-minute bit on it
no, for sure.
last week. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm leaning Rams, man. I like them outright. To be honest, money line, that'd be my play here. I probably will play it, depending on the value. Maybe if it's like plus 125, something like that, I'll probably play it. I might actually ladder it, stretch it out to like Rams minus 6.5, just for the sake of payout. Not necessarily I think it's going to happen, but you're low risk, kind of high reward there. Yeah, the Rams, I mean, they've been kind of up and down. The 49ers kind of also up and down. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird game. But it's another one that like I'm interested to see kind of how both teams go. looking for more consistency out of both of them. But it's kind of hard to, and that's what makes it hard. Like you're saying, it's hard to lean one way or the other. I just like Rams. I just think they're just kind of a better team, personally. They've still got the studs at all the playmaking spots. They're pretty healthy as well compared to the 49ers, honestly. Yeah. So I don't know, health and just I think that they've got, they still got the superstars. So that's why I would lean that way.
It's tough for me to get an idea of who's going to win this one because think of the strengths of the Rams offense. It's the passing attack, right? But Matt Stafford has been riddled with, turnover-worthy types of plays and poor decision-making, and that 49ers defense is legit. Talanoa Hufanga, that dude is all over the field. D'Amico Ryan's doing a great job coaching that side of the ball. So that negates some of my optimism. And then on the other side, San Francisco, that rushing attack, right? I should be all over that, especially against the Rams. But with Bobby Wagner there in the middle and a guy who used to play in the NFC West, I don't know, man. There's something about that makes me think that part of the reason they brought him in was to be the answer to this type of a weakness. So I can kind of see this one being 17-10 final score, lack of offense, whichever side. I'll take the Rams just because they're getting points, kind of going back to that idea. And we'll see how this line moves. If it becomes a pick 'em, maybe I'll flip back to San Francisco just because that run game is a high floor system. But if it moves out any more in the favor of the Rams, out the 3.5, I'll take that. I'll take money line outright as well. So it's tough. I think this one can be kind of an ugly Monday night, a tough way to finish next week. But it's not to be a pessimist. Mason, where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I won't take too much time, but like you said, I don't know why the spread is at 2.5. I feel like it'll move closer to a pick 'em throughout the week. It is a tricky game to read for me. I didn't watch any of the. Did they play Sunday night, the 49ers?
Yeah.
Sunday night. I didn't watch.
Not watching that 11-10 barn burner.
Yeah, I heard that was a game not to watch, so I'm glad I didn't watch that. But that being said, I don't really know how the 49ers are operating now with Jimmy G. I haven't watched that offense click yet. So I do lean the Rams. I know the 49ers defense is pretty good, but I don't know. It's tough to go with the 49ers, I think. I think I do lean the Rams this week. But I don't know. They are healthy. They are the more healthy team, like JT said. So that's my only thought, really. I don't know too much about this game. It's just tricky for me. I
still think it's just like they just have the better roster to me. I don't know. I mean, I think the coaching, you can kind of argue both sides. McVay's obviously, beast. Shanahan, I think is I don't know. I'd rank him up with anybody as far as scheming, especially offensively. The way he is able to make the most. I mean, you've seen it with the running back carousel. It doesn't matter who's back there. Be putting up numbers. Like it's just
him and his dad have been doing it for literally 3 decades.
And it's nuts. So I don't know, coaching edge. I'd probably even lean 49ers coaching edge. But roster, I think the roster is just better on the Rams side. Also, we saw the 49ers struggle in terms of getting receivers open against the Broncos.
Sure.
So you see,
great. Yeah. So if you're a Broncos fan, you got one. That's a
right. And if you look at Surtain and Ramsey, I mean, they're very similar corners. To me at least, they're very big, physical.
Sure.
Can run. They're also probably 2 of the top 5 in the league, so that helps. But they're very similar. So I could see another kind of offensive struggle out of the 49ers, at least in the passing attack.
All right. Last 2 talking points, one for each side. So this will not help anybody who's, having a hard time picking a side here. But past storylines don't write future ones. But Rams coming off a win, 49ers coming off an ugly loss. They're back at home. Narratively speaking, kind of makes sense for San Francisco to kind of bounce back here. But on the same side, we were talking about, impact of, superstar players. You were talking about a minute ago, JT. Well, the Rams can point to having the best player in the league, or if not 1, 2, in Aaron Donald. Dude's an animal. So when it comes to just having the best guy out there, the Rams have the edge there, and that dude can certainly take over games. And he's had a lot of big ones against the 49ers. So that's our 5-game, kind of preview for week 4 of the NFL season. Again, if you want to see the rest of our thoughts and outlooks for the rest of the week, be sure to check out our Pick'ems link down below in the description. Okay, boys, times for the 2-minute drill. Let me I got the stopwatch back out now. We finally got a win in the column last week, so hooray for us. I went 1-1. That's why I have one more game played. I lost the Chiefs -6.5, but Ravens -3. That won me big time there. Obviously, JT played Cowboys money line, and at that time we recorded, that was Cowboys by 2.5 maybe. So not too bad. It ended up being a -1 game. So That's some closing line value there. And then Mason, dude, your bold 3-team parlay. At the beginning of the week, we were so optimistic. I had the Chiefs, I had the Raiders, and the Bengals. The Bengals were the only one of the three who took that one home. So that's tough. But hey, kudos to you for taking that shot. So, all right, I'm going to start the clock. Now I'll go ahead and get us out of the way. We all kind of love this play. When I saw the lines opened and I saw the Panthers were favored against the Cardinals, I was dumbfounded. I was floored. And then to see it opened at -2 or whatever, and then I got it at -1. So I was like, oh, okay, well, or +1, excuse me, for the Cardinals.
It's moved back.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, maybe. But dude, yeah, give me the Cardinals spread, money line, outright for better odds. Yeah. But I also want to throw out, dude, especially now with Miami at 4. So you have your key numbers of 3 and 7. If you tease Miami back to +10, you're also getting obviously 6 in front of 7, but then 10 is also one of those numbers that probability wise it comes up a fair amount. So give me, Miami +10, and then you can also teaser that Cardinals line out to like +8 now, because I think it's at 2 at this current moment. So there's just no way those two teams are the Bengals are not winning by double digits, I don't think. And I'll take the touchdown with the Cardinals, but I'd rather have their money line. So that's gonna be my lock of the week. Mason, on to you. What's up?
Yeah, I was looking through the games and nothing really jumped out at me besides the Cardinals and the Panthers. Like, to me, the Panthers are not good at all outside of McCaffrey. So I do like the Cardinals play. And what was the tease you just talked about? I'm sorry. The Bengals, right?
Yeah, Dolphins out to +10.
Right.
And it would be Cardinals or something
So that'll be my lock as well. I'll tail that just because I've struggled 3 weeks in a row. So I'm not going anywhere else. So I will just stick with that, and we will roll with that for the week.
All right. JT, you have 15 seconds.
Yep. Cardinals money line +10 is great, but to be spicy, we're going to tease up the Titans at the Colts +10.5 and the under 48.5. It's an alternate under that comes out to -105 payout. So that's what I'm going to do there.
Oh, there it is. There's the sounding of it. So we were right on the money there. Here, stick around. A couple other plays. Broncos. I think I got to take the Broncos against the Raiders this week. I think that's another spread.
No, I'm on the complete opposite.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I might have a friendly wager on that one.
We talked about earlier, and one of my takes, I talked about, I don't think this team is a 0 this team or is a 3-1 team. It's the same thing. I don't think the Raiders are an 0-4 team.
I understand.
And I definitely don't think the Broncos are a 3-1 team.
That's also fair.
There's just no way the Broncos.
Raiders are at home too, so I like them even more.
Yeah, no, I understand for all those reasons, but hear me out.
There's just no way,
dude. That offensive line's terrible. Did you see Randy Gregory?
No, it's bad. I agree. No, it is bad. I mean, if you want to look at it from like a straight up like scheme, dude, and like
the Broncos are going to be living in their backfield.
Yeah, no, I still Nathaniel Hackett can't hack it, so we're good.
All right, well, fair enough. And then I kind of like the over. I think I'm going to end up playing it over Bills Ravens. I like that play earlier. I think, and I have a hard time thinking both those offenses don't at least hit 20. And at that point, I feel like I'm close enough to itch our way there, given the firepower in that one. Any other plays you guys want to throw out to those watching?
I know we talked about I like Raiders -2.5. We just talked about that.
That's an interesting one, man.
Cardinals money line. Everybody hammer it. No, just kidding. No betting advice. But Cardinals money line. You can actually get that at +110 right now on DraftKings. It actually went up from +100. So somehow you get even better value right now. So hammer Cardinals.
It's a losing record on your screen right now, but man, this Cardinals play is too good to be true. And
it's a little sketch. It's a little sketchy kind of play, but.
Yeah, that's why I hold on.
Yeah. But Justin Jefferson, whatever his prop is, slam the over. It's not happening 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
Yeah, there's just no way. He's got to be schemed more into the offense. He's getting doubled and triple teamed. Like, he's got over top coverage every single snap. But I think we're going to see more pre-snap movement to try and alleviate some of that this week. Yeah, so. I think his prop, whatever his yardage prop is, I'm going to play it. So,
yeah, I like it. Well, boys, thanks for joining me. That's going to do it for this episode of the Hurry Up Offense. And thank you all for hanging out and spending some time with us. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and give us some of your plays and favorite games you're going to be looking forward to this upcoming weekend and some matchups you're looking forward to watch. So thanks for hanging out with us and spending some time with us. Thanks for watching the Hurry Up Offense. For JT, for Mason, my name's TJ. Signing off.